Welcome to Conversations with Linda. I'm Linda. You know I love a good conversation, so let's have one. Welcome to Conversations with Linda. I have these beautiful women surrounding me in our studio today, and I can't wait to have a conversation with them. But first, I want to introduce you to them, and then they're going to tell you who their husbands are. And so I have to my left Shatara Terry, and I'm getting ready to say Tutu, that's how we know her, Catura Cheers. And then to my right, I have Simone Clark, and then I have DaShanetha Brown. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Aren't they gorgeous? Let me tell you, this is Diva on Design. So I just want you all to tell us who you're married to, because last week's episode was with your husbands. I'll start with you, Shatara.
So my name is Shatara Terry. I am married to Timothy Terry. We've been together for 12 years total, 6 years of dating, and it will be 6 years of marriage in February.
Okay.
I am Catura Cheers. I am married to Maurice Cheers. We have been together 15 years and married for 6.
All right.
Hello, I'm Simone Clark. I'm married to Courtney Clark, who plays the bass. We have been together 18 years and married 7.
And Courtney was not on the show.
Yes, he was not.
But he is a part of the band. And just in case you don't remember, the guy's episode was with the band of our church. All right, Dash.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is DaShanetha Wilson Brown, and I'm married to Scotty Brown. He's the organist at the church, and we've been together for 10 years, but we've been married for 7 years.
I love the way you all introduce your husbands and tell how long you've been together, because you're going to give the how long we've been together years and then how long we've been married years. Because what you're really saying is the investment has been longer than
Absolutely.
just the
Yes.
marriage. All right, I get it. So we had this interesting conversation last week. And actually, I've had 2 conversations with the guys, because they love to antagonize me. They love to argue with me about relationships. And I enjoy talking to them. I really do. And hearing their perspective. And that's what we did on the show, is got their perspective, right? And so tonight, it's getting your perspective as wives, as women. And I know our viewers are just sitting with their coffee or whatever they're drinking, saying, "Ooh, let me hear what they're going to say," because they heard the guys last week. And can I say the guys were pretty candid? And I wanted them to be. I wanted them to speak their truth. And that's why we had them on by themselves, because sometimes, men feel like they never really are heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's your night tonight.
All right.
So here we go. Being the wife of a musician, because they're not just church musicians. They've played in other places, other venues. What is that like? What does it take to be married to a musician?
Let me go first.
Okay.
Well, number one, it does take patience.
Okay.
I will always tell a woman that's married to a musician, be ready to be alone a little bit.
Okay. Be ready to be alone.
If you're one of those people that you always got to be around your spouse,
Okay.
then you don't need to be with a musician, because
Wow.
you're going to have a lot of time by yourself, a lot
Because
of free time.
he's-
Always busy on the road. So,
Okay.
Well, again, like I said, you have to have patience to be with a musician. It's not as easy as it look. Of course, you see the outside, but
Right.
you have to be able to deal with them being gone a lot, or whatnot. So,
And I'm sure that comes into play, because you just had a baby.
oh yes,
Yeah, little Spencer.
Yes.
And so when you start having children, that's really a big deal.
yes,
absolutely.
it makes it even tougher.
Okay,
or whatnot,
okay. Now, when you all were dating, but before I go there to my next question, you all agree?
Yes, I agree. And I'll piggyback off of that. I mean, you have to be confident within yourself, because when you are alone, your mind may, wonder
Absolutely.
or
I
whatever,
can imagine that.
you know
I
what
can
I'm saying?
imagine that.
So you have to be confident and secure with your man and, or with your husband and like, just deal with his absence. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So most women see the glamour part of it.
yeah.
Right.
And you may say, well, what's the glamour? Women are just attracted to men who have any kind of platform.
Right.
I mean, let's face
Absolutely.
it. Any,
That's right.
any kind of platform, any kind of talent
Yeah.
that
Yes.
other people see them,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
But they don't know this other side where once you get married and all of that, you're no longer at the club with him.
That's
all that.
right.
You're at the house.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Because you get
Raising the
drained.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't go to
Okay,
every gig.
okay.
That's right. Because when you're younger, like we've been together 18 years, so when you're younger, it's fun to go to the gigs with them and hang out with them. But then when you get older, you become a wife, a mother.
Yeah,
You can't
Right.
travel and run up behind them, every
Yeah.
time. So
Absolutely.
It's true.
And you probably don't want to, huh?
yeah, you don't.
Not all the time. Right. We want
It
to
gets
have
old.
Yeah, it gets old.
Yeah.
And then me,
Okay.
I'm not into music. Like that's
Okay.
not. We do not connect through music. I can't
Gotcha.
sing, so it's not even exciting for me to go. I would just go to support him.
That's true.
Yeah, so
That makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And I know for my husband, he's the drummer.
Uh-huh.
So for some, he can really get on my nerves sometimes. Beating on everything. So for him to gig sometimes, for me, it's a break.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha. It's a
you know,
break.
I'm
Okay,
with it.
okay. And so when we're talking about that, being on a platform, women, all right, how do you handle that? Because you said something about that, Simone, of
Yes.
you got to be secure in yourself, but
You do. And I mean, because the women, they just, like you said, they throw themselves at men who are in, public figures or whatever have be. So like just one time, for example, I was at church and I got to fighting at church, right?
girl, you got
Did.
Yes, run up, get done up. And yes.
Wait a minute. Run up and Donald. Okay.
At the church. I mean, that was the only place I would see her. So that was my only opportunity, right? But it's those moments where you have to be confident because women will try you, right?
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
just see, you're a pretty face and, they want your husband for whatever reason it may be. And so they try little things like peek at you, look at you, send their friends to do stuff to
And
you.
sometimes
Absolutely.
you're not able to get your husband to believe that they're
Absolutely.
doing that because they don't
Right.
do it in front of you.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I'm married to a man. That has that. I know, baby. I know.
Yes.
And so how do you you got to fight for real?
I sure did.
Now,
At
Pastor
church.
Linda, that was
But that
before
was,
her gatekeeping
yes, let me,
days.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
let me
That
clarify. That was
the
not,
gatekeeper in New Life.
and before I was saved, okay?
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
But yeah, I mean, that's totally out of character. I would not do that now. But, again, that goes back to what you just said about the man not even believing that, they want you to just ignore stuff like that. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
absolutely.
They want to act like it doesn't exist and you better than that. I don't know why you let her get in your head, but all that stuff after a while, it does start to mess with you.
Right.
And your confidence and
Yeah,
all of
your
that. So
confidence.
that goes back to what I originally said. You have to be confident.
And oftentimes that's what she's after.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Is to get in your head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to break the relationship up. Go ahead.
I will say, so this is before Tim and I got married. You have to be strong enough to sometimes say, you can have him. So Tim has a
All right,
record
all
called
right.
The Tim Terry Experience.
The Tim Terry Experience.
Experience, Tim Terry. And now this was before we married. I remember looking at his email, and she emailed and said, just as nice as you are, you could be that much more mean. And she said she's the only one that's going to be able to deal with you.
Oh, she
You
said
need-
that about him.
Yeah.
To him.
Yes, and she was so correct. But see, my boss, he's hot and cold.
Okay.
My dad, he's hot and cold. So Tim, I can deal with
So you
then.
equipped.
I'm equipped to deal
Okay,
with
I
hot
got
and
you.
cold. You don't want to talk, I don't want to talk.
Oh,
You have energy.
Yeah,
You match.
absolutely.
Okay, because that would drive some women up the wall.
Yeah.
Those men who withdraw and shut down.
Yes.
But you can roll with it.
I'm able to roll with it now. I'm very emotional, and Tim is not. He can cut you off like cold turkey, and he can treat you
Not
like
the therapist.
The therapist. He will cut you off. He's a Capricorn. He will cut you off. He will act like you don't exist. And I remember, when we first got married, I was like, wait, we're married now. You're not supposed to treat me like that. But
Yeah.
I learned to adjust.
Okay.
And so, as I've always have, and so not many women can deal with it.
Okay.
I promise she's going to send him back.
Yeah. And I think that to be secure in yourself, you got to be in a place where you are not afraid.
Yeah,
That's right.
Because if you love me, you're going to stay with me. So
That's
I
right.
shouldn't have to live in fear
Right. That's right.
of somebody being able to take you
Right.
away
That's
from me
right.
or leaving
Absolutely.
me for somebody
Absolutely.
else. So
Absolutely.
you do have to be in a place. I agree with you. I
Yes.
agree with you.
That's right.
But it is tough being married to someone that has a platform because people women, let's say women, tend to idolize them.
Yes,
they do.
And you may say, well, I hear y'all, well, they just musicians. No, but for many people, in the club, in the church,
Yes.
that's as close to a celebrity as they're going to
Absolutely.
get, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes them attractive. I say all the time, and I've been saying this for years, child, they don't have to look like nothing.
They
don't have
always
to
be ugly. I ain't seen a cute one yet.
But they just be running after them. So and they don't know
Yeah, they don't.
what
They
they're gonna
don't.
get.
Right,
That's
don't.
true.
And just like Shatara said, they'll give them right back. You'll throw them right back.
Yes.
Once you live that life, we walk in together, we look cute, but we could have just had an argument in the car.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And I had to learn that because it would be times at church we ain't speaking, and I always say how we are at home. I've changed my ways. How we are at home, we need to be that same way in public. You're not speaking to me. I'm not speaking to you. I'm leaving early, so I don't have to.
Okay, but you have changed your ways, right? Okay. So I think that we do, how we say we have our outside voice, inside voice.
Yeah.
I think that relationships need to have that. We have
Yes.
our public stuff,
Absolutely.
and we have our private.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, in
Absolutely.
35 years, every Sunday I have not come to church happy.
Yeah.
Right? There may be something we had talked about in the car, but for the most part, what I always think of is whatever I'm upset about or whatever we're not agreeing on, that has nothing to do with these people here.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's right.
So I can come
Absolutely.
to church, be who I need to be,
Yeah.
and treat him, because I can't be nice to everybody else and not nice to him.
Right.
Right.
Right? And then we can deal with our issue when we get home.
That's right.
That's
Right.
right.
So that's
That
how
is
I
good.
that's how I have handled that in that way. Because folk watch you now.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do. They waiting on that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, they waiting to see, if
Absolutely.
y'all not talking, because
Yeah.
then they can kind of get in there. So
Yeah,
all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Before we go to commercial break, because just speaking on that, Shatara, you mentioned Tim being hot and cold and all of that. How do you all deal with these creatives? Because that's what they are. They're creatives as artists. Now we're not talking about the public. It's that creative personality that, come on, Tutu.
Talk about creative.
Like, do they go in their own room or whatever, and they got to play their instrument and be all tied up with the earphones and trying to, are they that creative or?
Well, Scotty is. I find him upstairs a lot, especially when we're not on the same page.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
we're
Yeah,
not
we're
on
going
the
to
same-
come back to that
Yeah.
after the commercial.
He's
Because
up
he
there a
told
lot.
us about he goes up there when y'all not on the same page.
Yeah.
But he's always up there
Okay.
or whatnot. But we have to balance or whatnot. He knows don't be up there all night because
Okay.
you still got Spencer, you got mommy downstairs.
Absolutely.
So go
Absolutely.
up there, but come on back down.
Okay.
You know, so
That's right.
And you said
And I
playing
think,
the drums.
right, for Boo, I think a lot, or Maurice, I'm sorry, it's therapy for him. But
Okay.
a lot of times, as his wife, it's like, I could be your therapy too.
Right.
If you
Okay.
you kind of
Right.
just talk through some things
Yeah.
and not just, go for the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a communication piece that's attached to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I tell Courtney, I have told him a lot of times, if you just give me a little same energy you give that bass,
Yeah.
we can
Yes.
work through some of our stuff. The time you give that bass, give me some of that same time,
Yeah, I've heard women who are married to professional men, whether they're preachers, doctors, or whatever, they feel like that profession is the other woman.
Now that's true.
Because
That
that's
is
where
true.
his energy, his passion is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Y'all can relate to that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Well, you
All
know,
right.
Tim is no longer in the musician world like he used to be. Thank God. And so I see him in a different realm now.
Okay.
You know, he's not playing music at home. He does a lot of reading, and he's a therapy now.
So he's married to therapy.
He's married to therapy.
Or she's the therapist of the woman.
Yeah, he's the therapist. Him being a therapist, that's his other love. And even when we're, you know, into it or whatever, he brings therapy into the argument as well. So, yeah.
You know what? I think as a therapist, we can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
Because my family will say, look, I don't want you to, don't
Yes,
counsel me.
yes.
Don't analyze me.
Yeah.
All that. So I can
tell
relate to
him
that.
Don't therapy me. You know, I will tell you that.
Well, look, we're going to go to a commercial break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Conversations with Linda. Listen, I am surrounded by these gorgeous women, Shatara Terry, Catura Cheers, Simone Clark, and DaShanetha Wilson Brown. Did I get that right? I want to throw your Wilson in there, Wilson Brown.
Thank you.
It's been a delight already sharing with them. As you know, I had their husbands on the show last week. Last episode was the men's edition. And so I want to go deeper into our conversation tonight to get your reflections on last week. Because the men, you know, they took the gloves off and they were quite candid. And one of the things, ladies, that they all said they would entertain was about this open relationship stuff. So I know our viewers want to know your side of that. What did you think when you heard it? Had you heard it before? And how do you feel about it? I mean, you know, are you rocking with that too?
It's a no for me.
Yeah,
It's a
a
no.
big one.
Absolutely not for
you know.
me.
Yeah, I'm not sharing. No, ma'am. I'm over with him. That's it.
You know what was interesting to me about that is, and I find this interesting with a lot of men, you know, that talk about that. I think that men talk about this whole open relationship idea. First of all, they always say, well, you know, I just want to be able to talk about it at least, not for it to be a closed subject. But the second thing I think is interesting is I don't know if men really consider the wife being with another man.
Oh my
They
God.
never
They're
know.
They just thinking about
Yeah.
themselves.
They're too
Absolutely.
Oh my
egocentric
God.
for that.
Yeah.
They can't handle it.
Because I don't think they can
Yeah,
handle
they
that.
can't.
No.
And you know, as gorgeous as you all are, come on now. I do. First of all, it wouldn't be hard. Okay, I'm meddling. I'm meddling. But I don't think, I'm talking about men in general, not just your husbands. I don't think that they really give consideration to how that would really impact them, how they would really feel about that.
Yeah.
I would like to share that my daughter, I have a daughter, she's 14, she'll be 15. Her dad and I are extremely close.
Really?
Yeah, like my son loves him.
Wow.
Tim's daughter loves him.
Really?
Yeah, so we just all love him.
And how does that work?
So that was very difficult, especially when we got engaged, because I was like, well, I just don't really know because, you know, I don't want to take my daughter. Our dynamic it's almost like a family. Like he will forever be my family. And so when I saw Tim say, or I heard him say, you know, brought up the openness. Well, I remember one time, he was probably going to kill me. He came to church one Sunday. Right?
Really?
Yes, he was going to join the church, Pastor.
Wow.
And he said, I want to join y'all church. And I said, Tim. And so when COVID hit, that's the only reason why he did not join.
Wow.
He wanted to join.
Gosh.
He had started coming just on his own. But one Sunday, I sat next to him because our daughter she was dancing. So it was me, the baby, and him.
Oh my God.
Tim was living. He was living. He was like, "You got my son." So when he says, my husband, when he say, "Oh, we're gonna be open," no, we're not.
couldn't handle it. You would not handle
We're
it.
not gonna be open. But
Tim, you cannot handle it.
you know, so it took some adjustment in our marriage because he had to, he had to adjust to Chris is my family.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was a big adjustment in our life.
I'm just trying to think if that would have worked. Not in my 35 years.
Mine either, right?
Dynamic, yeah.
But so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely
No,
not.
we're
Yes,
not
no.
sharing.
The only openness we gonna have is reverse roles, maybe. Like
Okay.
you cook some days, I'll take the trash
Right.
if it's full. But ain't no another woman coming up in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say the only openness for me is communication.
Okay.
All
All
That's a
right.
good one. That's
And
a
you
good
open
one.
that door for me when I get ready to go.
That's right.
Yes, yes, thank you.
You know what? Now they're probably gonna be frowning on this, but I'm glad to hear you all say that because, to be honest, the women I talk to, counsel with, that's a lot of pressure that they're on. The pressure they're under today
Yeah.
is this new trend of having these open relationships, these poly relationships. I mean, you know, y'all know I
Yeah.
keep it real now,
Mhm.
and that's what people are dealing with
Yeah.
because their men, whether they're husbands or significant others, they're introducing this to the relationship saying,
Yeah.
you know, I want to try this. And women are feeling the pressure because it feels like, well, if you love me, y'all know men have been using that line forever. If you love me. Yeah. Okay.
I would like to add something now. Again, no woman is coming in, but like me and my husband, sometimes if I see a beautiful lady, like we're at a restaurant, I'm like, oh look, she's really
Sure.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh, she has a nice shape. Look at her. Like
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But let me say-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I don't know if I ever said she got a nice shape. But I'm trying to think if I ever said that. But I will say she's a gorgeous lady. She's a
Yeah.
pretty lady.
So,
Yeah. I think you can mature to a place where you
Yeah.
can just acknowledge and admire beauty.
Yes,
That it's not
absolutely.
anything. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you to look at her to
Yeah,
lust
that way.
after her.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
but I think now I don't know if he'll do that. But okay. You gotta know what makes your marriage work, honey.
Right.
Don't-
That's right. You
I've
do
been
what
in
works
this
for you.
thing 35 years. I know what makes it work.
Right.
Yes.
So we're talking about musicians, and one of the things that I also know is that whether it's ministry, musicians, the creative types, okay, the creative type, oftentimes they want to go full time in that arena, whether they're artists, musicians, preachers, whatever it is. How do y'all feel about that? Because I know with musicians, that's not always consistent,
Right.
Because you're
Right.
gigging.
Right.
What do y'all think about that?
Well, I would say that me and Scotty, when we first got married, we dealt with that because he was a full-time musician, and me personally, I just wasn't in agreement with it because I always would say, well, what are you gonna do when you turn 62? You cannot
I love
retire
it.
from,
I love
you're
it.
gonna be 62 on the organ. You're not. You need to get a job.
Okay.
You have that second income, that Social Security coming out of your check or whatnot. So I am not for him being a full-time musician, and he's not one now, and I'm very thankful. But we did not start out like that. We had
Okay.
to grow to that point.
Okay, to grow
And
to that point.
We're there now, and I'm very thankful for that.
Because you need some insurance.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So y'all all feel the same way about
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
All right, then you're hearing it right here, men. Keep your day job.
That's right.
Make sure you keep it. So I've asked you about the full-time working. What about this whole gigging? Because since they do have full-time jobs, then they've got to come home and then go gig. How does that work? When do you find time to be a couple?
So for me, I always say the gig is not something that you have to do. You know,
Okay.
it's extra. If you want to do it, then
Okay.
good. But we don't. I don't want us to be in the position to where you got to do a gig
Right.
Okay.
or whatnot. So that's what we are. Is only if you want to do the gig because you're bringing the money in from your job. You know.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I think for me, balance is key.
Okay.
You have to be. There's nothing wrong with the gigging, but like all of us are married, all of us have boys, so it's crucial for our boys to be able to spend some time with dad.
Yes.
And
Right,
not be
right,
with,
right.
they're with mom most of the time
Mhm.
because of the rehearsals and the
Yeah.
gigging.
Right, right.
And
So
so
true.
it's important for them to spend some time with dad. So
Yeah,
you have to
absolutely.
be able to balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I want to ask, and I'm just trying to see how to ask this, but let me just put it this way. What I heard from the men was that they want their needs to be considered. Did y'all see that? And they were talking about, their softer side.
Yes.
Yeah. They wanted to be vulnerable. And when you heard that, what were your thoughts? Did you say, "Oh, I've been missing it," or "Boy, how were you? What was going on in your head?"
So it was, I think Tim mentioned it about wanting to be vulnerable at times.
Yeah.
So
He
it
said,
was-
"I'm not still."
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So there was a kind of aha moment for me.
Okay.
Because, when you think about your husband, men in general, you think strength. And,
Right.
and so to hear him say that sometimes they just would like to be vulnerable, that was kind of an aha moment.
Okay.
I think getting on the platform and being vulnerable enough to say that. So when Tim and I first started dating, I was just so in awe of him. He's so smart. I feel like he could do anything, and he has so many characteristics of my dad.
Okay.
And so that was one of the things that attracted me to him. So
Okay.
a lot of times I do feel like Tim got it. Tim can do it. So listening to him, I said, well, let me take a step back,
Okay.
and make sure I consider him in all things. I tried to do that, Pastor London. He didn't really mean it, It's like, so we just got a new home, and so I got a garage panel put on the garage so that my daughter can get in. And so I talked to him about it. I said, Tim, I need to get a panel put on. He was like, okay, fine. So I said, well, the guy coming tomorrow. He said, oh, okay. So when I got to work, my friend was like, Tim is mad at you. I said, you think so? So when I talked to Tim, he was upset because I did not let him take the lead. But it's like, I want to take some stress off of you.
That's what you meant.
Yeah.
But he interpreted as you not letting me wear the pants.
Yeah, and then I didn't let him wear the pants. I tried to say, well, let me step up more. Let me take some, because he's stressed a lot. When he come home, he's creative in the world. But when he come home, I get all of that, and I wanted to just take some stress off of him,
Okay.
It didn't work. It didn't work. I was in trouble.
That was a lot, Shatara, though. And that's a question I ask you later, Pastor Linda. But, I mean, sometimes men are just slow at doing stuff. So it's not that we don't want them to take the lead or do it. It's like, you just take it too long. And if I do it, it's going to get done.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to put my cards down because you said you were going to ask me later. Let me just go ahead and deal with that because, after 35 years, I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a take charge person.
Yes.
And I say that because I want you to know that it's not just because, it's not you doing something wrong. I think that it's how we are nurtured as girls.
Yeah.
That our moms said, get in there and, take care of your brothers and sisters or get the kitchen clean. And we had to do it, and we had to do it then. Boys went outside to play, and all they had to be responsible for was putting up the trash. And so we're used to doing things immediately because mama expected you to do it immediately. If you were still sitting down and she was telling you to get up and watch So I think that's where it's the nurturing piece. And so it's slowing down to recognize that he's not necessarily just ignoring me. He just may not be processing it as I'm processing it. We're not wired the same way.
You ain't hipping me.
Yeah, I'm helping you. And the other thing is, men are able to compartmentalize.
Yes,
Yes.
they
If
are.
you don't
Yes, they
remember
are.
nothing else
Yes,
I said,
they are.
remember that. We're the multitaskers.
Mhm.
We're going to
Absolutely.
have dinner going and
Yeah.
taking care of the child, answering the phone. You know, we're doing everything. Washing the clothes, all at the same time,
Yes.
right? Because I know these clothes gonna wash for 30 minutes and I can be whipping up my dinner and all that.
Yep.
Men don't do that.
Absolutely not.
They do not. Everything has a compartment. And it's when they're in compartment one, that's where they are.
Yeah.
So they to the exclusion of everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to remember that. So when you've given them one task, that's all they're thinking about. So now you can't tell them to do three things at one time.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna work on it. That I'm in compartment one.
Yeah.
And so remembering that then takes the offense out of it. Because what happens is we get mad about it. We
Yes,
get offended.
Yes.
Right.
It's quiet.
I used to
Still ain't
say,
doing it.
I used to say to my husband, now you can remember when the 49ers played the Jets and it was 1982 and you can remember what the final score was and when they went into overtime and who the coach was and who made the last touchdown. But you cannot remember that crash needs to go out on Thursday night. It was just, ooh. But what I realized is it wasn't that the trash wasn't important. It was whatever else was important. He hadn't gotten to the compartment of taking out the trash yet. So learning to say, hey, babe, I don't want to nag you. So tell me how to approach this. That
I gotta get there.
Yeah.
because oftentimes two things can happen. Either one, they're going to be able to tell you the right way to approach them. Like, babe, if you just give me I'm going to do it. I may not do it at 6 o'clock in the evening, but I'm going to do it before the night is over. So they can tell you, or they can say, well, babe, if you just say it this way instead of that way. So that gives you an opportunity to correct what you're doing, or it gives them an opportunity to see them does have a point. But now if you come at them with a fight, they're not going to let you win the fight. So they got to, I know. I know. Look, we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to Conversations with Linda. I am surrounded by these beauties, and we are having a wonderful conversation about relationships. You all know that their husbands were on last Sunday evening, and so it's their time. And so I just want to talk about Shatara for a minute. I know y'all supposed to be asking me the questions, but I got to throw this one in. Your husband said that some guy told you that you were pretty or beautiful, and then you told him that the guy told you that.
Yeah, so we have this safe space.
Okay.
So actually, I said that because he talked about withholding.
Okay.
And
oh yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you withhold compliments, especially if I'm going
Oh.
somewhere. So I will say this. So when I was younger and we dated, I went out all the time. But
Okay.
since I've had Sean Timothy and I just love him so, I don't want to leave him. So I'm home. I'm mom,
Okay.
and wife. And so when I go out and I decide that, okay, I like to wear skirts every time I go out.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't really like for me to go out, so he won't ever compliment me.
Wow.
So when I came
when you're on
home,
your way
I
out,
let
okay.
him know you didn't compliment me.
Oh.
But I had some guys to compliment me.
Well,
Yeah.
now he said he had complimented you the day before.
Yes, but I'm saying it's not that I want him to compliment me all the time. I'm not even like that.
But going
But
out.
when I go out,
Absolutely.
you never, because you don't want me to go out. So when we talk about withholding, that's a form, or is it a form of withholding?
Well, because he's doing it, he's not giving you a compliment because he's not happy with you going out. So that is a form of withholding.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have this safe space where we can tell each other stuff.
Okay.
And so for as long as Tim and I have dated, I kind of have tunnel vision. Never wanted to talk to anybody, even when we were on breaks. Never saw anybody that I felt was attractive. And so I had to say, since we were talking about openness, we have this safe space where Tim and I were not doing so well in our marriage.
Okay.
And I actually was in the grocery store. And Pastor Linda, I was walking, I saw this guy, and I said, oh my God. Like, I thought he was just gorgeous, you know, and so I had to tell Tim in one of our talks and say, hey, I just want to let you know. You know how I never see anybody that I think is attractive because of my love for you? Yeah, it happened today. So I had to let him know that, just being open.
And do you all think that guys take you for granted, they take women for granted to things?
Absolutely.
That only ones that see someone that's attractive.
So let me just say, my husband, the word submissive came up.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. So, Pastor Linda, define what a submissive wife looks like. What does she look like? Because obviously none of us are submissive.
You know, when I first heard that 35 years ago, I felt the same way. But submissive means to put yourself under another, right? And I like to look at submissiveness or submission as to voluntarily cooperate. You can't make me submit, but I can voluntarily say, you know what? I'm going to put myself right up under you. You're my covering now, okay? And we're going to work together to accomplish our goal, right? And when I say under you, I'm talking about supporting you. I'm talking about being there for you. We're a team, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm holding my man up. We're working this thing together because we are trying to accomplish an end goal, an outcome that's going to benefit both of us. I always give the example. To me, it's like being on a highway or something and it's 2 lanes, and then all of a sudden those 2 lanes go to 1 lane, maybe because some work is being done, whatever. When you're going to merge, somebody has to get behind the other, or you're going to crash. You're going to crash into each other. So I'm going to get behind you because you know where we're going now. We've already set the vision. And so I'm getting behind you and we're going on. And I that's when what the Bible talks about being a helpmeet. It's not now that I'm a part of this vision. I don't lose vision. Your vision is supposed to encompass me too. And so you're headed where we both agreed we're going, right? And so and what that also means is because we're trying to accomplish a goal, cause you the head, you're going to say, okay, baby, I recognize your strength. Now you take that. If I'm stronger in the finances, as the leader, you ought to be putting me in charge, right? Because I'm the stronger one. The leader is supposed to be what we talk about, a servant leader. That's what Christ was. He came to serve. If your husbands have the leadership that Christ was talking about, submission is not a bad word. Submission means you're covered. That he understands he's your protector. He understands he's your provider. And then you're like, baby, and I got you too. I got your back. Did y'all see that movie? And I talked about it, I think, on that show. The Harder They Fall. Is that what it is? The Harder They Fall.
You did mention that. I've never seen it.
Baby, there's a scene in there. Next time I preach on marriages, there's a scene in there. They get back to back with one another because they're fighting the enemy, and they got their going. Well, that's how y'all need to see one another. We got each other's back, right? Not that I'm out here uncovered, right? So that's how I see submission. So I believe in submission.
So a part B is, you mentioned that if one is stronger in a certain area, so is it safe to say we submit to each other?
Absolutely. That's what the Bible says.
Oh,
I didn't make this stuff up.
okay.
We submit to one another. But the word submission means to put yourself up under the other person. But that same Bible that says wives submit to your husbands, it also says submit to one another. And who wouldn't submit to a man who's loving you like Christ loved the church?
Oh, that's deep.
Willing to make any sacrifice for you.
That's good.
Willing to die for you. Who
Yeah.
wouldn't?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't
They
want
missed
to?
that part.
They missed that part.
Love the church.
Yeah.
They forget that part.
Well, now, ladies, this is what they say you all forget.
Thinking of forgetting.
They say you all forget that part of not withholding your bodies from them.
Yeah, I don't struggle in that area.
Men,
You can have all of me.
men complain, not just your husbands, but I'm talking about men in general complain, especially Christian men,
Yeah.
complain that, you know, you were all in before we got married. Come on, let's be grown-ups here.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's
And,
right.
and then we get married, and now we don't, you know, I got to get on your calendar.
Wow.
I come
Yeah,
after
right
the
now.
children, after the
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
after you
Mhm.
finish washing dishes, after all of that. And then they feel the other part of that is, and when you get mad, that bed is cold.
It's real cold.
He says real cold. Now, come on, girl.
Well, I mean, if you can't get, and we done put the boys down and in the bed, and you can't come in there, I'm asleep.
We need help around the house.
Yes.
Now, you know, I don't want to go
So
real
how you
deep.
just deal with that, Pastor Linda? Because I struggle with withholding. If I'm mad, we ain't talking. You ain't finna get none. Don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? So how? Because if you just laying there mad, that's no fun, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so what I'm supposed to do? Just lay there like, okay. Oh no.
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to let the sun go down on your wrath.
Uh-huh.
So we do need to work towards working out whatever our issue is.
Yeah, okay.
So that, you know, I think the piece about withholding has to do with when you're using it to punish them,
Yeah.
you know. But I also know that working out the issues, not letting it linger. Now, y'all married to
See.
some young men now, ladies.
Yeah.
Now, let's be real here.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
Now,
true.
you can't make these young men go
You're right.
months at a time. Some of them not weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them not even
Days
days at a time.
Lord.
You got to be wise as well to say, okay, and is what I'm upset about, is it a breach of the marriage? Then okay, baby, I need some time because
Yeah.
I'm really hurt
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But now, because he didn't put that trash out, boy, you going to put that trash out next week, but come on in this bed.
So, what if you are really
I love it.
hurt? Like, whatever has happened, you're very hurt. And sometimes that hurt is
Deep.
it's deep.
Yeah.
And it's been time, you know, and it's deep and you
Yeah,
lose
that's
that
good.
part
Absolutely.
of you.
I mean,
Absolutely.
sex, yeah, it's like an emotional connection.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that point, when I'm
It
mad,
is.
my emotions are anger. It's
Yeah.
not the loving and,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that deep hurt.
Yeah.
So again, it's about what am I doing? What are we doing to work towards reconciliation?
Yeah.
Here's what I say to women. If you're going to stay in the marriage,
absolutely.
then you got to work towards reconciliation.
Right,
right.
Now, if you're on your
Okay.
way to divorce,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
But if you stand, then go crawl back up in that bed and work through whatever you got to work through. Talk
Yeah.
through. Go to therapy. Go to
Yeah.
couples
Yeah.
counseling. You can't just shut down and say, you know, I'm here. I'm in the bed with you, but we're not touching each other, and we're gonna go like this for months. What are we doing to work towards working through our problems?
Well, we've worked through our problems. So I'm making it
Okay.
real personal. We have worked through our problems. For me, I think I told you, I was like, Tim, we are best friends. He was like, no, we not. You know,
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, hey, we're best friends. He's just not saying anything, you know, anymore. So we are very close. But if I can be candid,
Sure.
that part of me, she is not as alive as she once was, and I'm working through it, and I want to get better.
Okay.
But that mind block,
Yeah.
it's definitely
And it
a
is
blockage
mental.
there. Yeah,
It is mental.
It's a blockage there, and
You know what my
I wanna work through it.
gynecologist told me? She said your greatest sex organ is up here.
Absolutely,
That
that is
is
so
true.
true.
Indeed.
That is so
That's
true.
So
that
you
you
got to
got
deal
me.
with up here.
Yeah.
And I am going to have an episode for the ladies on keeping the she in me alive.
That is
so
Because there are things, I don't know that men understand the physiological part of us that
Yeah,
is
they
so
don't.
tied to our emotions.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you are stressed, when you are upset, when you, whatever, hormonally you may be out of balance. I mean, so many things that we contend with that we don't talk about and nobody tells us. You know, my mama told me, girl, do what you got to do to keep that marriage going. But
I remember before my mom died, we were in Macy's. I remember it like it's happening right now, and I remember she had come to grips that, hey, I'm gonna die. So she was kind of like, girl, when you get married, your husband gonna want to do some things. And she said, just go and do it. You're not gonna always want to do it. Just do it. It ain't gonna last that long.
That's funny.
So, you know, I try to tell myself it ain't gonna last that long. But, you know, we're emotional. And, you know, for me, it's protection.
Yeah.
So I told you Tim is hot and cold.
Yeah.
He's not as bad anymore, but he's hot and cold. So when you turn cold on me, and we have just been in the bed, you know, we just love each other. When you turn cold, I got a problem.
Gotcha.
Because I've let myself fall back in love. And your actions say you're not in love.
Yeah.
And so I'm holding that bag. I'm crying at work.
Yeah.
So if I don't do that part, I'm good. You can be hot, cold, warm, you can be whatever you want to be because I've protected myself.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm not protecting the marriage when I do that.
Oh, that's
So I gotta
that's
work
an
on
aha
that.
moment.
Tim, I'm gonna work on
And,
that.
right.
That's good.
And again, I'm going to do a show about that because I think we need to be able to talk about that. I mean, you know, we're grown and it's real. And even, you know, as Christian women, we cannot make sex dirty.
Yeah.
Right.
We're the ones that's supposed to be enjoying it. We're the
Right.
ones supposed to be, you know, turning flips and doing all that good stuff.
Right.
But we lose touch because again we become mothers and we're dealing as we're starting to get older. We are hormonally changing so many things, and we got just the stress of the relationship, whatever's happening in the relationship. One of the things I have discovered though, the older you get, a lot of things just don't matter anymore. So you don't be as upset all the time. I remember in my younger days, you know, everything bothering me and, you know, come on.
And I'm
you when you get older, you do. I think when I talk to my friends and all that, we are all so much more in touch with our sexuality. And so, you know, we feel like, no, this is my reward too. So I'm withholding from you is withholding from me. Right? So that's a good way to look at it. I'm telling you. You were going to ask a question.
I was. Okay, so I think Scotty mentioned, or one of our husbands, about just letting them know when we feel a certain way or when we see certain things.
Just say it. That's how he was saying.
Okay, so I know for me, when I just say it, I don't know if it's for you, same for you ladies, but they say y'all out of line. You out of line. You need to stay in the wife's place. You know, so they can't always take it, but they want it.
They think they want
They
it.
think they want it. Because if I tell you, I don't think this is the right move. I don't think this is a good idea.
It's something
you know,
you're not
I'm
agreeing
telling
with.
you, then you the head. So you're gonna still do what you want to do. So is it? They just, it's easy for them to say, you know, just let us know, or just say what it is that you feel, but they can't really handle our feelings.
No.
So I think when guys say, just say it, I think what they're really saying, and I could be wrong, I'm not a guy, but when I talked to men and counseled with men, because I've counseled with just as many men as I have women, what they're really saying is cut through the chase of all of the emotional packaging that we put things in. We got a lot of adjectives that we do a lot of explaining. Well,
Yes.
remember now, they compartmentalize, and in that compartment, it's kind of simple in there. Things are kind of black and white.
Yes.
And when we talk about things, we got to say what color it was
Mhm.
and what time of day it happened. And I think they get all, it's like, you're giving me too much. Just say what it is you're trying to tell me, right? And so I think that's a part of it. I think tone does have something to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, the Bible talks about a soft answer turns away wrath. I think because in that we provoke not just our husbands, but you come at me wrong.
Right.
You could be saying the right thing, but you're coming at me wrong.
Mhm.
Then I got to work past how I'm feeling, how I
Right.
want to react
Yeah.
to really hear you. Right? So I think taking all of those things into consideration, but I keep hearing you saying, but I'm talking about when I just don't agree. There have been times when I did not agree. And he and I can talk about them now and laugh about them, but there have been times I've been hot, like, that he just decided he was going to do it, you know, like come home with a car that I'm like, you did what? But in wanting my marriage to work and with understanding that he needed some individuality. I can't be his mother. He needs to feel like he has some space and place to be himself and his own person. I had to go in my shower because that's where I would do my praying when he was home. Now, when he's not at home, I'd be all over the house. I'd be anointing the pillow, the bed. Baby, by the time he get in that bed, he'd be sliding because that bed be so oily. But I would go in the shower and pray, and I would say, now, Lord, you know I don't agree with this decision, and I'm really concerned. But I need you to make this work for our good. See, because I really believe, I ain't trying to be super spiritual. I'm telling you what I've done for 35 years. I have had to say, I can appeal to a higher court. That, okay, he's my husband, but God is still my Lord.
Right.
And I can pray about this. And I promise you, I have seen some places where God made it work out for our good. Or the Lord convicted him. And he changed and said, you know what? I'm going to do this way. And I was like, okay, that's what you want to do? So I don't think we need to, I know we don't need to lose that connection. That when I cannot get through to him, I got to go to God and say, because sometimes it's me. Maybe his idea is good and I just can't see it. So I also got to say, now, Lord, help me if I'm missing it. So that, because I think sometimes that we approach as women, you all are professional women, you are educated women, all of that. But y'all, sometimes we can be wrong too.
Absolutely.
And so that takes God helping us to see, now, you know, you didn't handle that right. Or you know, what's wrong with him having this? You know, Bishop got a motorcycle. I was never, ever, I think we spent 25 years me saying no to a motorcycle. And one day it was like I had this moment with the Holy Spirit looking at him. And it's like the Lord was speaking to me saying, and why can't he have it? Do you want to deny him his whole life of having something? You have what you want.
That's true.
Can he have something that he wants? And so I said, okay, you can have that motorcycle, but you got to sign on this dotted line on this new policy that I'm putting you in to ensure. And that was our agreement, that if I can increase this policy, then you can take this motorcycle. Now, the other agreement was, and I don't have to get on it. You can't force me to ride the motorcycle with you. But I get a joy out of seeing him enjoy something he really wants to do. And I think I think the greatest killer of marriage is selfishness. when it all has to be the way you want it to be. Listen, I didn't know that man loved blue. He never told me. 34 years of marriage. I'm a warm red color, gold. I love warm colors. And we're renovating some stuff in the house, and we were in a store somewhere, and he was admiring something that was blue. And I heard him talking to the salesperson about the blue, whatever it was. I was like, when did you start liking blue? First of all, you embarrassing me. I feel like I don't know my man. Right? I was like, he said, baby, I've always liked blue. And I thought, wow, I never really asked you. And maybe because I knew you were going to answer something I didn't like, right? We had a blue wedding, but I promise you that was the last time. Because, what girl didn't like blue when she was a teenager or whatever? And so, but guess what? I am doing this new bedroom, and it's blue.
That's right.
Blue down.
I gotta give him some of what he wants because he's always trying to. I saw Tim took you to Vegas and you had all your bags, and I've seen all of y'all on trips and stuff, and these men are trying to make you happy and they want you looking good and all of that. You gotta give them a little bit of it, and sometimes it's not what you think they should have or what they need, because oftentimes we mother men and we're like, oh, I'm giving you this because you need this. But what does he really want? Okay, I know I'm wrapping up. We're gonna have a girls. We just get in the floor and we're gonna get in our pretty chairs. I got some good chairs. We're gonna be in our pretty chairs, but we're gonna really have a girls' night. Well, we just talk about girl stuff. I mean, I'm talking about beyond this men stuff right here. But I got one last question for you all. I asked the men, because all of them have boys, all of you out there have boys, what would they tell their boys 15 to 20 years from now? I'm going to ask you, what would you tell your boys about women and about marriage?
Want me to start? Well, my boy is 5.
So I'm talking about 15 years from now.
I would definitely tell him first to pray and ask God to show him if, when it's concerning marriage, to show him if she is the one.
Okay.
Don't try to find nobody like his mama, because he's only one. And to really take his time and don't feel pressure to just be with the first person he's with.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I would say the same. I would first tell him check that family tree. That's very important.
That is so good.
Like just, get to know her deeper, not just the outer appearance or whatever. And concerning marriage, same thing. Make sure, pray to God, make sure that this is the one. I mean, it's going to be a lot of girls out of there, out there for you, but just pray and try to just ask God to make sure she's the one.
Okay.
Gosh. Pretty much the same thing. Go to God about it first.
Okay.
Make sure that it's somebody that you really want to be with. Take your time. Don't rush into anything. Don't settle either.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have problems with the good and the bad. So
Absolutely.
just go ahead and get what you want, but just trust God, and everything will work out.
All right. Shatara.
So you preached about being connected to toxicity, right? And so, mine's gonna be 2 parts because I have a daughter. So for my daughter, I would definitely tell her, see how and evaluate his relationship with his mother.
Yes.
Because if his relationship with his mother is not good, I promise you, you're going to be on your knees praying the whole marriage. It's going to mirror that.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell my son the same thing. But for my son, don't get married if you ain't saved. Because you can't take her where y'all need to go if you are not praying and asking God to guide us in every decision. And it wasn't until Tim became closer. Well, he's always had a good relationship with God, but just came back to church that he was able to guide us, and our life just got, everything about him expanded. He started making more money.
Wow.
Our relationship came
Wow.
together. I got a promotion. We finally got our baby. You know,
Yeah.
so if he is not saved,
Mhm.
Shantae, don't you get married.
Wow.
Do not get
Wow.
married.
Y'all, I
That's
get
good.
so tickled listening to Shatara talk because she says the funniest things, and you didn't tell them, but one day Shatara, I don't know, I think I had taught a class to women about marriage or something, and Shatara came to me afterwards, and she was like, Pastor Linda, I need help. She said, because I'm not a church lady. I thought that was the cutest thing. She said, I'm not a church lady. I said, Shatara, you can be. And she has blossomed. She's now
Yes.
on guest relations and all of you.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it. And I know, and I think your husbands know too, they have, just diamonds here because y'all are the whole package. And don't let them fool you. They'll be crying if you leave them.
And will.
Oh my goodness. But this has been good. Would you all promise to come back on the show and listen to
Yes,
this?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, y'all know I'm out of time, but I'm never out of conversation. But I got to wrap this one up. Tune in each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be right here. Can't wait to see you next Sunday. God bless you.